Few weeks ago, we reported that Avatar director James Cameron was not at all satisfied with the status quo caused by the pandemic. Due to massive restrictions, the production of his sequel Avatar 2, which is scheduled to be released at the end of 2021, stagnated. A few days ago, producer Jon Landau announced that his return to New Zealand was imminent so that work on the film could finally be finalized. The goal, of course, is to maintain the production start as good as possible. According to the New Zealand radio station Radio New Zealand, a smaller team led by Landau will go to the island for the time being to restart production. They will then serve the 2-week quarantine together. So far so good, but Jon Landau did miss the chance to reveal some more details about the story of the Avatar successor. The story revolves around the family of Jake and Neytiri, already known from the first part. According to Landau, they are forced to leave their homes in the second part. Afterwards, they will explore different regions of Pandora, including an underwater world. This is also in line with the pictures of Avatar 2, which were published a few months ago and give a good foretaste of the upcoming, impressive regions of Pandora. Avatar 2 is expected to be released in US cinemas on December 17, 2021, and the sequels Avatar 3, 4 and 5 will be released every 2 years. So far, Henry Cavill has not been able to convince 100% in his role as Superman. After the relatively successful debut in Man of Steel, the films Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice and Justice League followed, which were controversial among critics and fans. No wonder that Warner Bros. Put Cavill and his character Superman on hold for the time being. As Deadline now reports, contrary to all expectations, a return of Superman seems to be imminent. In any case, this is not supposed to be a big solo film, because according to the latest media reports, Warner is negotiating with Cavill about a rather small appearance in an already announced movie. But which films are actually suitable for Cavill's return? For Wonder Woman 1984 and the Suicide Squad, the shooting has already been completed, and also for The Batman, an appearance of the 37-year-old seems very unlikely. In a much earlier production phase, there are Aquaman 2, Black Adam, or even Shazam 2. In all three of them, an appearance of Superman could be included, even though there is no reliable information about the three movies yet because of the missing story. Quite interesting is the fact that a long time ago a montage by the artist Boss Logic appeared, where Superman and Black Adam are seen during a fight. Both of them seem to be in not too good shape in the picture after a pretty bad fight, although Superman at least seems to have the air supremacy on his side. The clue about this is that Boss Logic probably didn't create this picture entirely of his own free will. He's supposed to have been specifically requested by The Rock's team to create a picture of Superman fighting off Black Adam. According to the artist himself, it seemed strange to him, because why would The Rock explicitly ask for a picture where he himself was attacked? What do you think? Is it just a nice looking fan art, or is there maybe more to it? We will find out more about it in the near future. After all, the shooting of Black Adam is about to start. The US release of Black Adam is planned for December 22nd, 2021. 1 week ago, the time had come. The Snyder Cut of Justice League, which has been demanded for years, was officially announced for 2021. Could this now initiate a way for similar films? Seems like it, because a few days after the announcement there was already rumors about an Ayer cut for the 2016 release movie Suicide Squad. Sounds reasonable, because Ayer often stressed in the past that he's not at all that satisfied with the final cinema version. When the director was asked on Twitter by journalist Stephen Weintraub what an Ayer cut for Suicide Squad would look like, he answered promptly. Literally, he said, "This is a good question. My cut would be easy to complete. It would be incredibly cathartic for me. It's exhausting getting your ass kicked for a film that got the Edward Scissorhands treatment. The film I made has never been seen." So motivation and enough raw material for an Ayer cut are definitely there. Now it's probably up to the net community again to use hashtags like Release the Ayer cut to make sure Warner Bros. Becomes active. What do you think about the emerging trend of releasing well-known films in different versions? Pure money making? Or a fresh perspective on already released films? Feel free to write in the comments. For a long time it was quiet around Matt Damon's character Jason Bourne in the action movie series of the same name. The former CIA contract killer was last seen in the cinemas in 2016. Before that, Jeremy Renner briefly took over the character in the spin-off The Bourne Legacy in 2012. Since then it has become more or less quiet around the film series, which has existed since 2002. From time to time you could hear something about a sixth part, but the work behind the scenes probably didn't make much progress. However, the producer in charge of the series is now raising new hopes for a sequel. In an interview with Collider, producer Frank Marshall talked about the current status of the project and was quite optimistic about the future of the franchise. According to his own statement, the production team is currently looking for a director and a new story. Unfortunately, Marshall did not want to reveal whether Matt Damon would then return for the sixth part. Nevertheless, it remains to be hoped. After all, it became clear during the spin-off with Jeremy Renner, both in terms of reviews and financially, that a Bourne film simply doesn't work properly without Jason Bourne. So whether we will see a sixth part depends mainly on finding a capable director and a thrilling story. At least the producer seems to be optimistic. The fantasy adventure film Labyrinth with David Bowie has long become a classic for many people. And it seems that TriStar Studio is now actually announcing a second part with Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson. According to a report by Deadline, Derrickson is indeed given the honor to continue the movie, which was released 34 years ago. This will come in handy for him. After all, the creative disagreement and his departure from Disney is not that long ago. One thing Labyrinth and Derrickson's last Marvel film seem to have at least in common: the word strange applies to both of them quite well. In the genre classic Labyrinth, which was released in 1984, David Bowie made a name for himself with a performance as the dazzling Goblin King. Most of his co-stars are Muppets because how could it be any other way? Jim Henson directed the show, who is not only a director but also a puppeteer. Besides the movie with David Bowie, Henson also let the puppets dance at the Muppet Show and at Sesame Street. In terms of content, Labyrinth is about the teenager Sarah, who is so annoyed by her little brother Toby that she prefers to escape into dream worlds. As a result, she wishes that her brother would be kidnapped by goblins. No sooner said than done. That's not exactly what Sarah had meant after all, because she immediately leaves to free her little brother from the goblins' clutches. She has to cross a labyrinth under great time pressure, otherwise her brother will turn into a goblin as well. So much for the first part. How the story will be continued in the second part is not known at the moment. But according to Deadline, it should at least be definitely a sequel, not a remake. When we can expect a release is not yet known.